What's good, RIZZLE fam? It's your boy Big Man. A few days ago, we saw Boosie Badazz call out the collaboration album that he made alongside T.I. because he turned out to be a snitch. Now, T.I. decided to send out a strong message to Boosie, and it seems like their friendship is all but over. Some of their fans struggle to see the point of such a strong reaction coming from Boosie, while others understand and support him completely. And even though T.I. has been quiet about it for a minute, it seems that was the case because he was thinking about his next step. And we finally got his reply, and it was a lengthy one. T.I. hopped on his IG, and he let the world know what he thought of Boosie's rant. Here's how the story goes. We got a real beef story cooking up this week, and believe it or not, it started between two southern rappers that you would never imagine going at each other, Boosie Badazz and T.I., aka Tip.
Collectively unified.
Black power.
Black power.
You don't need to get lost, man.
You hear me?
Yeah.
And there's a line being drawn in the...
Just a few months ago, they were tighter than ever. They came together after Charleston White disrespected their sons and called them out for being poor parents. Problems they had with Charleston White didn't really result in anything serious happening, but at the end of the day, it was a bunch of back and forth threats coming from both sides. However, what did end up happening is that T.I. and Boosie decided to make an album together. Boosie announced it during one of the interviews that he did, and we saw T.I.'s IG live multiple times in which he and Boosie were together in the studio dropping straight fire tracks. But one thing happened last week that completely changed the narrative of not only their joint album, but their friendship too. A 3-year-old video somehow resurfaced on the internet and became quite popular all of a sudden.
They just look at it because they make so many transactions with the type of business that they do, and they just like, okay, cool. And we go right outside, roll that shit into your hands, get the cash, and go.
It's an episode from Tip's Expeditiously podcast in which T.I. tells one funny story that happened way back when he was only 17 or 18 years old. See, Tip reminds us of a story that happened to him and his cousin back in the day when they were reselling branded clothing. As it turns out, the two were caught slipping because the cops pulled them over and they found a gun in the car. So naturally, they caught a few charges to their names. The story gets more complicated because Tip's cousin passed away before the trial even started. So T.I.'s lawyers told him that he could use this sad situation to his advantage and claim in front of the judge that the gun belonged to his cousin. And that's exactly what T.I. did. Because of that, he ducked the charges and he didn't have to go to jail at all. He was in the clear.
And so we caught no gun cases, 2 died, and you know, my lawyer said, well, you know, I can make everything go away if it was Tramel's.
But little did he know that this little story would come back to bite him hard. It cost him more than just an album, it cost him a worthy friendship. The reason why is because Boosie quickly found out about this snitching video. The rest was history. Boosie don't want to have anything at all with rats, and that part of Boosie never changed since day one. If you know anything about Boosie, it's that it's very consistent. And even though some say that snitching on dead people isn't really snitching because you're just trying to do the best you can for you and there are no other consequences, for Boosie, that isn't the case. We already saw Boosie come for Terrence Gangsta Williams for doing the same exact thing. He also had outstanding gun charges and he blamed it on his dead homie. Because of that, Boosie came hard for him. Now that we found out that Tip did the same thing, it was expected that Boosie would smack it. That's precisely what happened, and Boosie told T.I. He told T.I. that he's a rat.
With the T.I. situation, if he did that, you're a fucking rat too. I don't spare no motherfucking body. Because if you doing anything wrong, you doing anything criminal-wise, and you cooperate with law enforcement to get you out of trouble, that means you're cooperating. That means you're a rat.
Fans believe that anyone has the right to call someone out for being a snitch, then that person has to be Boosie Badazz. He's seen it all, and he can speak on all these things with authority. One fan reminded us, gotta respect it, he was on death row. Never told, never folded, stayed solid. He really lived it. He earned the right. And as you may already know, without even blinking, Boosie simply called off the album that he and Tip made together. If you ask him, that thing is never coming out, because Boosie doesn't work with snitches. That's why we read this comment saying, Boosie's one of the few people I can trust when it comes to speaking against rats. He was tested as hard as the justice system could test someone, and he never told on anyone. Dude will immediately drop a whole joint project with T.I., no questions asked, upon finding out about T.I.'s history. I have to respect it. Boosie always been like this. His persona is consistent, and if he thought something about you 20 years ago, he's still gonna have the same energy today. That's just who he is, and you can't change it. Fans love that about Boosie, and that's the reason he's got one of the most loyal fan bases out of all the rappers that we know of today. This is also the reason why many folks think good move by Boosie. If you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything. I respect affect his decision. Even though Tip was quiet about these developments for a minute, he finally came out a day ago and surprised every single one of us. He hit back at Boosie and he hit hard. He uploaded a video that DJ Vlad posted the other day talking to Boosie about Tip, and he left a long caption with it and said, "Yeah, so I don't know if it's you or your OG uncle that needs to see it, but I got my paperwork ready to show. Pull up, my number the same and address the same. To get on that net and speak on shit you've never spoke to me about is leaving me to believe you've been hiding your heart the whole time. I'd never speak certain disrespect on your name/reputation about a if, homie. That convict code say when in doubt, pull the paperwork out. And if you ain't did that, now I don't know. I don't know what time or type you've been on. I say again, if it was a question or confusion about anything I said, you would have called and asked so you can report back and tell your OG, or you could have pulled up and checked it black and white like I'm offering now. Either way though, I ain't bound to know his opinion of me. Cause what they say think will never outrule I know. So don't wonder no more, homie. Answer the if. Pull up and report back to the rest of these who opinions matter so much to you. Cause I could give a fuck about what no think about me. The tail shall never wag the dog. Leadership leads with facts and stats. We don't follow no fantasy land shit. Remember that. I ain't bending my knees for nothing and fearing nothing but God. So come on and see what you speaking about so next time you can speak intelligently. I expected more from you. This shit ain't solid. Obviously, I thought we was something we wasn't. Now, there's a lot to be said about T.I.'s reply. First off, let's get with the OG uncle that he referred to at the very beginning. The OG uncle is allegedly the 60-something-year-old uncle who called up Boosie when he found out that Tip snitched on his cousin. Not just that he told Boosie that he cannot drop the album with Tip because he's a rat and he doesn't work with rats. Now, whether or not that's true, we can't really say. Boosie doesn't usually cap about these things, so someone probably did call him up and say such a thing, but it's not really the most important takeaway from this message. Rather, what matters the most is the following two things: T.I.'s paperwork on one hand and the sheer disappointment on the other. T.I. came for Boosie because he decided to call him out publicly, even though he never knew that T.I. said was actually true or not. This is why he told Boosie that he should have called him up first and talked to him about it to check if it's true or not. This way, he just went all in and it was a mistake because apparently none of that stuff ever happened and T.I. has the papers on him to prove it. This point is connected to the last one, and it's the fact that Boosie straight up disappointed T.I. because of his actions. He firmly believed that the two had a solid friendship, even outside the music, but it turned out to be false. Nothing hurts more than that. Some say it could be Vlad's fault since Vlad is known for pushing people during interviews. One comment on Tip's IG said, "Boosie gotta stop the Vlad interviews. It's low-key ruining his reputation. Vlad is not the culture." And one more comment said, "Vlad is a puppeteer who eats off us. Wake up." Some say that Boosie was never T.I.'s brother because if he was, he wouldn't just rush to talk about him on the internet the way he did. But what y'all think? Is this true? You think Boosie should have handled this situation differently? Let us know what you think about it in the comment section below. If you found this video interesting, then like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, remember to keep it RIZZLE.